everyone, my name is Trâm and I'm from Vietnam. I'm an English teacher in Vietnam and today I make the video for submit my assignment in this course teaching English now, technology and rich teaching. And in this video I will show you some tips that help your student improve their own vocabulary. You know what? Vocabulary is really important for learner who want to learn another language, not their own language. And my student has a problem with vocabulary, and I helped them a lot. They can understanding, deep learning, and learn a new words so quickly. In this website, I chose this Khan Academy. You know what? Khan Academy is really good for you, for your student, for learning another language or another subject. In this Khan Academy has a lot of subjects like math, like sciences, like English too, etc. A lot. And in this video, I will show you how important vocabulary is. And you know what? When you communicate with someone else, vocabulary is really important. You have a struggle with grammar, but no problem. You can talk with not wrong grammar, like wrong grammar, but you cannot use the wrong word for some situation. Really important. Vocabulary is really important, and in this video, I will show you the way you can teach them. And I learned a lot from this course. I use technology for my student in this class, and they excited with this method. I will show I will show you the way I teach them. Just click the link in a Khan Academy, sign up a course account and do it. Okay, now I show you the link. Okay, hope you like it, and you can learn a lot from this. Okay, here. Okay, now you click the link in here. Okay.
Another word with the same meaning.
Back.
And you see a word you've never seen before and you don't really know how to figure out what it means. Well, that's what we're talking about today. Strategies for figuring out new words through context. You're always going to be encountering new words. At the time of this recording, I'm 31, and I run into new and confusing words every day. I read a lot, and it's always a fun challenge to run into words like, glabrous, or limbed, or nacreous. I know a lot about language, and even I have trouble figuring out what those words mean on their own. So it's important to rely on context, the language that surrounds the word. Let's say you're reading a text and you come across a sentence that has a word in it you don't recognize. Here's a bit from a passage about the famous chimpanzee researcher Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall arrived at Tanzania's Gombe Stream National Park in 1960. She was considered somewhat unconventional among other animal researchers. After all, she had not yet been to college. So let's pause on unconventional. What does that word mean? Well, let me give you some ideas. That's the memory aid I use to keep it straight. Ideas. It stands for inference, definition, example, antonym, synonym. IDEA.
So, when you saw some new word, you can create it or come up with some idea like inference, definition, example, antonym, and synonym. And you can help your student create it. And the student need to come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to surround the word, the new word. Okay, keep going.
Ideas, which are all different kinds of context clues. every word will have a different context, so you might need to vary your approach. The way this snippet is written, let's try inference first, then I'll rewrite the sentence a few times to show you the other methods. Okay, the I in ideas, inference. We can draw conclusions from the context. If we don't know what unconventional means, we can take a look at the rest of the sentence or other nearby sentences to figure it out. Being unconventional seems to make Goodall different from other researchers. She hadn't yet been to college, which implies that the rest of them had. That doesn't give us a full answer, but it does tell us that she's different somehow. So I think that unconventional might mean different than what is normal. And because I'm making an inference about this word's meaning, I'll want to keep an eye out for it in other places to see if I can confirm or revise that working definition later. D. Definition. Context clues like these will just give you the definition of the word in question. So a good example of that would be, she was considered somewhat unconventional among other animal researchers. She hadn't been to college yet, and this made her different and unexpected. Different and unexpected is a great definition for the word unconventional. This style of context clue occurs when the author expects a word to be unfamiliar to you and builds in a guide for you right there in the text. The E in ideas stands for example, and this is somewhere between inference and definition. If the author describes Goodall as unconventional, they'll go on to talk about something unconventional that Goodall did. She was considered somewhat unconventional among animal researchers. For one thing, she hadn't been to college yet. So this is very similar to that initial sentence, except for the transition phrase, for one thing, which is a way to set up examples. Antonym. An antonym is a word whose meaning is the opposite of another word, like how night is the opposite of day, or how love is the opposite of hate. So if there's an example...
Yeah, like this. When you teach your student and ask them the question, a lot of question about antonym, and that your student can understand. Yeah,
in
keep
the text
going.
of what Jane Goodall was not. We can use that to figure out what she was. So let's say the passage said Goodall was unconventional, she didn't conform, and she wasn't ordinary. There we have two antonyms and our answer. Similarly, synonym just means, right, another word with the same meaning, similar to a definition. Jane Goodall was unconventional. She was a nonconformist. She went against the grain. You can see that I had to rewrite the sentences each time to apply to each context clue strategy, which shows me that you won't find all 5 context clues every time you need to search for a word's meaning. You need to find the approach that makes the most sense in context. See what I did there? And failing that, you can always look up an unfamiliar word in a dictionary. I love to do that, I think that's great. But I also feel a sense of victory when I correctly figure out what a new word means, when I put it together from context. And maybe if I'm still curious, I look it up later, and then I turn out to be right, and I'm all like, victory at sea! I did it! Oh, and if you were curious, glabrous means smooth and hairless, like a leaf or the skin of a frog. Nacreous means shiny and rainbow-colored, like the inside of an oyster shell. And to limn something means to draw the outline
Okay.
or to be highlighted in light.
Okay.
You can learn anything. David out.
Okay. After, for a student watching the video, ask them and play the quick. Like this. Here is this is the practice, and then ask the student, some question in here. Oh, I'm sorry, my connect Wi-Fi is so low. Okay, here, like this, for the student, read this paragraph, and then they can choose like this. They can choose the answer, and they can compare. Okay, this website is really good for teaching English. I hope everyone can check it out and find a way you can teach your student, improve some web that help your student. I hope everyone have a good day. Thank you very much for watching my video. Thank you very much.